And we're kicking off with WWE, and in just a few weeks the promotion will host its Money in the Bank event in London, and there's been plenty of talk about who will be leaving the English capital with a briefcase. So far, Shinsuke Nakamura, Ricochet, and LA Knight have qualified for the men's ladder match, and from the get-go, Knight has been considered the favorite. Even before he qualified for the match, Knight was being considered the favorite to win by many, but fans wanting to see him win may have to prepare to be disappointed. When Ringside News reached out to a member of the WWE creative team to ask about LA Knight and the reports of his imminent victory, the source quickly refuted the idea that this booking is a done deal. The source even went as far as to say about the reports, "Let everyone report that, they'll look stupid when the match is over." So it seems that Knight isn't as much of a favorite as some believe. WWE still has a few spots to book in the 2023 Men's Money in the Bank ladder match, and if not Knight, who do you want to see win the briefcase in London? It's been over 3 years since Edge made his return to wrestling after a 9-year retirement, and since then, the Rated R superstar has had one heck of a run. From a Royal Rumble win to working multiple WrestleManias, Edge has been on fire since returning to the ring, and we now know when he'll be appearing next. On Twitter, the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto announced that Edge will be part of the SmackDown show taking place on August 18th, 2023. The last time Edge competed in Toronto, he was victorious in a match against Damian Priest on the August 22nd, 2022 Raw, and after the show, teased that his final match could happen when WWE returns to the city this summer. Now, just because Edge teased retiring in Toronto doesn't mean it's a done deal, but whether it is this year or not, Edge has spoken about wrapping up his career in the not-too-distant future. Edge's old tag team partner Christian Cage even mentioned Edge's real name Adam Copeland during this week's Dynamite, teasing a match between the two, possibly as Edge's last match. This did get quite the reaction from Joey Janela, who said that Edge is hardly going to be interested in wrestling on AEW Dark, but a match between the pair in Toronto would be epic if WWE and AEW could come to some sort of deal. In addition to being his hometown, Toronto has a lot of significance to Edge's career, with some of his biggest matches happening in the city. And what do you think of Edge's impending return to WWE? It's been a couple of weeks since Seth Rollins became the new World Heavyweight Champion, and since then he has proven to be a fighting champion. Rollins has already defended his title at Raw and at live events, and was challenged by Braun Breaker to a title match on this week's NXT, and now SmackDown will be getting in on the action. The official Twitter for Madison Square Garden has revealed that Rollins will be defending his title at the July 7th episode, and will once again defend against Damian Priest. Given that this is a collision of two Raw superstars, odds are that the match will be a dark match just for the live crowd, so anyone heading to MSG will get a very special treat next month. At this time, Braun Strowman is out of action due to neck surgery, and it's expected that the Monster Among Men will be out of action for the remainder of the year. Of course, Strowman knew the risks when he first stepped into the ring, and this week, the former Universal Champion opened up about some of the issues he's been dealing with. While speaking to Fightful, Strowman revealed that he has 15% paralysis in his right leg, and that caused him to switch over to new shoes. He said, "My feet are really weird, so my right arch is collapsed on my right foot, and my left leg is 15% paralyzed, so I switched to these new shoes. It's a UK brand called Vivo Barefoot that is actually helping me strengthen my feet. I feel bad cheating on my Crocs, but I still got my Crocs. I wear those around the house. These are more business casual. They tell me I'm supposed to dress up. This is as good as I can get." Strowman also spoke about his year away from WWE following his 2021 release, saying that while it was a hard pill to swallow, he now realizes that he needed time away to step back and reflect on his life. Speaking about his return, Braun said it's good to be home and is looking forward to sharing moments with superstars he didn't get a chance to work with during his first WWE run. Before Braun can do that, though, he needs to be fully healed following his neck surgery, and we're wishing him all the best in the months of recovery to come. With WWE Money in the Bank a matter of weeks away, there's been plenty of talk about who will be qualifying for the men's and women's ladder matches. As we mentioned earlier, LA Knight already has his spot in the men's ladder match, and while we can't say for certain who will be joining him, Ricochet, and Shinsuke Nakamura, Knight knows who he doesn't want in the match. Speaking about the upcoming qualifying match between Baron Corbin and Butch, Knight says that he hopes Corbin doesn't qualify, as he'll likely be the tallest guy in the ladder match if he does. In addition to his slight height advantage, Corbin has the distinction of being a former Money in the Bank winner, having won the briefcase in 2017, but failed to cash in successfully. Despite being a SmackDown superstar, Knight did tease going for Seth Rollins' World Heavyweight Championship, though he'll have to go through the Money in the Bank ladder match first. As for Corbin, he hasn't had much success on the main roster, but could things turn around if he beats Butch to qualify? And do you think the Lone Wolf is heading to London? Let us know in the comments. If you were an avid watcher of Total Divas, then the name Sandra Gray may ring a bell, as she was a regularly recurring character on the show, despite not being a wrestler. Instead, Sandra worked as a costume designer for WWE for years before leaving and joining AEW, but her time in the business is now coming to an end. According to a report from Fightful's paywall, Sandra Gray is finishing up on the road with AEW, and after this tour is over, she'll be retiring from the wrestling business. They write, Fightful has learned that seamstress Sandra Gray is finishing up on the road with All Elite Wrestling imminently. She's been with the company since the beginning. Gray is well liked by the AEW roster and has been making gear since the 90s when she was approached by Sable to make Johnny B. Bad's gear in WCW. She ended up working with WCW until it was acquired by WWE, and then with WWE until 2015. The report adds that when AEW started, Brandi Rhodes was an instrumental part in Gray being hired, and that her retirement won't see her outside of wrestling entirely. Instead, Sandra will still make costumes for Cody Rhodes, which she has done for years, as she and the American Nightmare remain especially close despite working in different places. An exceptionally talented person who has played a role in many huge WWE and AEW moments, Sandra Gray has earned the right to take it easy from here on, and we wish her all the best. We've got some heartbreaking news to report now, as WWE Hall of Famer The Iron Sheik has died at the age of 81. News of the Sheik's death was broken on his Twitter account in a lengthy statement, which spoke about his role as a wrestler, as well as being a husband, father, and grandfather. Several wrestlers have expressed their sorrow about the passing of the former world champion, and on Twitter, WWE said they were saddened to learn of his death. WWE also extended their condolences to Sheik's family, friends, and fans, and it's fitting that so many tweets about him have been pouring in, given how much fun he had using Twitter. The Iron Sheik had quite a wild ride in the pro wrestling ring, and was a pop culture icon as well, and while he is no longer with us, the many memories of his life will never fade. Bray Wyatt has been quiet as of late due to his ongoing hiatus from WWE TV, but on Twitter, the former Universal Champion broke his silence to pay tribute to the Sheik. In a tweet, Wyatt said, "We will miss you, Bubba," using Sheik's affectionate nickname among his friends, and used the hashtag humble, referencing the Iron Sheik's use of the word. In promos, the Sheik would often threaten to make his opponents humble, and it's clear that the Iranian-American star had a profound effect on Bray Wyatt. Over to Dynamite now, and it's been 2 weeks since Wardlow defended the TNT title against Christian Cage at Double or Nothing, but the wily veteran isn't done with this feud yet. On tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite, a quick backstage interview was supposed to take place with Christian and Luchasaurus, but the pair launched a vicious attack on Brock Anderson. Christian explained that he would have won the title from Wardlow had Arn Anderson, Wardlow's manager, not appeared at ringside, and blames Arn for his loss at Double or Nothing. The Canadian superstar continued his interview, mentioning how Arn Anderson cost him a title and how he cost Luchasaurus a thumb, and it's clear that Cage and Luchasaurus won't stop until there's another title match. From what we've seen this week, who knows what other lengths Christian Cage will go to get what he wants, but one thing we do know is that this feud is far from over. But what do you think about a potential rematch between Christian Cage and Wardlow for the TNT Championship? Let us know in the comments section below. Dynamite also saw AEW World Champion MJF come face to face with Adam Cole, and as you'd expect, neither man held back on the mic. Cole interrupted MJF's segment in which he argued that there were no more worthy challengers for the AEW World title, and the champ even referenced a creative idea from WWE. After a fired-up promo from Cole, MJF quipped that it was an awful lot of tough talk coming from Keith Lee's manager, in a nod to WWE's direction for Cole. Prior to Cole's departure from WWE, Vince McMahon had wanted to call up Cole to the main roster, but not as a full-time wrestler, but rather as the manager of the Limitless One. Thankfully, the idea never came to fruition, but it still served as good ammunition for MJF in this war of words and didn't go unnoticed by the fans in attendance. Adam Cole is coming fresh off defeating a different world champion, Chris Jericho, and looks to be the one to dethrone MJF. And what did you think to this scathing line on this week's Dynamite? In the 4 years since AEW has been around, the promotion has often brought up WWE, and while they don't do it as much anymore, last night's Dynamite was a WWE heavy show. Speaking about Adam Cole, MJF said that after a successful Indies run, Cole went to Florida and became Shawn Michaels' handpicked champion, a nod to his time in NXT. While working with the Heartbreak Kid, Cole won the North American Championship, NXT Tag Team titles, and the NXT Championship, and later in the segment, MJF spoke about Cole's championship accolades being undisputed. Fans quickly noticed the line being a reference to the Undisputed Era, the popular faction from NXT, and MJF went on to say that Britt Baker leaves the house with Cole's manhood in her purse. While this may not have been as direct as the other lines, some have said that this was a wink and a nod to The Miz and Maurice, as WWE fans often taunt the A-lister and claim that his wife holds his manhood in her purse. The most direct line of the night saw MJF flat out state that Vince McMahon didn't see Cole as a top guy, and said that though he felt like the old man was insane for letting Cole go at the time, seeing Cole in AEW, MJF now believes Vince was right. MJF has never backed away when it comes to promos, and this week was no exception, and expect the tensions to build between the two ahead of an AEW World title match. And we're ending with CM Punk, as in addition to his work with AEW, the former world champion has been busy in recent years with the Starz hit, Heels. The show features Stephen Amell in a leading role as one of two brothers fighting to grow the wrestling promotion in Georgia, and season 1 also featured Punk as a heel wrestler, Ricky Rabies. While speaking during a Whatnot Live signing event, Amell discussed Punk's role in the show and teased that he will have heavy involvement in the show's second season. It remains to be seen how the second season of the highly anticipated show will turn out, but after spending months upon months off TV, CM Punk will be hard to miss when Heels Season 2 premieres on July 28th.